What's going on, guys? It's Michael MGF, and today I'm back doing another minifigures only review for Thor Ragnarok. The sets came out just about a month ago now, but like I said in the Justice League minifigures review, I was away at Brick Fair and these sets aren't cheap, so you can understand why it's been so long, and I decided that I would just review the minifigures from both waves. And so with Thor Ragnarok and Force Friday coming up pretty soon here, I figured I would get this out of the way and discuss these minifigures to some capacity on my channel. But if you're one of those people that think LEGO can do no wrong and that no changes can be made anywhere, then maybe this is not the video for you. But with all that said, let's get started. Okay, so first up, Thor in his new armor, specifically the Sicarian outfit, featuring the new helmet that Thor will be wearing for the arena sequences during the movie, and you can see LEGO has made an entirely new helmet mold just for it, and it looks great. Just giving you a 360 of it, you can see it is exactly what you would hope for from this new helmet piece, accuracy and all. I really can't say much else other than just how awesome this new piece is. LEGO did a really great job on it, and removing it though temporarily to give you a better look at the head underneath the new Chris Hemsworth Thor head. It looks really awesome. The mouth on this one is a little bit misprinted, but you can still see LEGO nailed the likeness here, and it is probably the best Thor head yet, I think. Removing it though, actually just turning it around temporarily so that you can see the lightning eyes that he has, like the electrified eyes that he's got going on here. Of course, you know, toward the end of the second trailer, they're pushing that he's the god of thunder, of course, and LEGO is doing the same here with this alternative facial expression. So that's definitely pretty cool. But now removing the head so that you can see the new piece that they actually have Thor's new katanas in, because of course by this point Mjolnir is destroyed and Thor is using swords, and you can see that this is not really a new piece. I mean, it's a new piece to me. I know it's been being used in the Ninjago movie sets, but I don't know if it was used before that. But it's a really great piece that of course holds two swords in the middle of it, and that's really awesome. So just removing those temporarily along with this entire accessory so that you can see the back of the torso really quick, and that, you know, continues all the same detail that you see on the front of the torso. And speaking of which, the like the unique factor of the front of the torso on this variant is that he does have like that red design, that red marking on the front of his armor that apparently he loses at some point later on in the movie, because LEGO has the second variant without that. Along with you'll notice with the next Thor that this knee pad is also exclusive to this minifigure. The blue knee pad that LEGO printed onto his right leg, that is all totally exclusive to this variant, and that's pretty cool, those two markings. So the knee pad and then this design, that red design on the torso. So yeah, other than that, you can see LEGO did actually go out of their way and they did print on some arm printing, which is always appreciated. Arm printing is great. There have been so many minifigures this year that have needed it, and thankfully LEGO did at least give it to Thor for this line, and so that is awesome, and a very really, you know, it's a very detailed design and it looks great. So yeah, aside from that though, that is it for our new Thor in his Sicarian armor, and it's pretty cool, man. And here we go with the Incredible Hulk in his gladiator armor. This is so cool. This has got to be one of the best big figs ever put out. I mean, easily the best Hulk big fig for sure. LEGO went all out with this one. They not only did all of the new printing, gave him the black pants, but they made an entirely new mold featuring this entirely new helmet, the shoulder pad, and all of this armor on his left arm. LEGO did not miss a beat here with making this big fig. It is just too cool, and I was not really expecting it to be this good. So speaking of that detail I mentioned, you can see on the front of the torso we've got all of those markings that we see on his right side, on the right side of his torso in the movie. All of these straps and like gray bandage-esque designs stretching all across the torso, which is super cool looking. And then back to that gladiator helmet that you can see on his head here, and you can see all of that going on. Like, not only is it, you know, super cool that we got the gladiator helmet here, it actually appears to be like a separate piece that LEGO sort of has kind of connected to the rest of the big fig. It can't be removed or anything, but you can tell that they clearly must have used, you know, at least like a base Hulk big fig for the, you know, entire thing, and then just, you know, swapped out the hairpiece with this helmet, which is super cool. And like the red section on the top is also really fantastic. But aside from that, you can see that the blue shoulder piece is super, super cool. It could clearly use some weathering. It's a little plasticky looking because of that bright blue, but that's totally okay. I do plan on customizing this one and using this as a base because LEGO definitely knocked it out of the park with this big fig. And you can see, again, all of that armor on his left arm is so, so cool. And all of its individual layers and additional pieces that kind of come down closer to his wrist. And it actually extends over the big fig's wrist a little bit on that arm. He's got his battle axe here as well, comprised of several different pieces. And you also do have like his giant mace or whatever. And I mean, for these being brick built, I don't think LEGO could have done any better with these. They look fantastic as it is. And then if we take a look at the back, we don't have a whole lot going on, but the black shorts are definitely a welcome design change from like the previous, you know, tan and blue that we've had with MCU Hulk variants. And again, this is easily the best one yet. And I don't really have anything else to say other than just how awesome this big fig is. It is so, so great. And again, I cannot wait to use it as a base for my own custom version. Our third figure is Loki in his new outfit. And you can see that this is the same Loki helmet that you've seen since the first Avengers in 2012. This is not a new piece, even though I have half of it out of frame. So still, it's back in all its rubbery glory, even though he's not really wearing a full helmet in Thor Ragnarok. It's more so like half of this. So I'm going to see if I can do some modification for my custom minifigure, but LEGO just decided they would rehash the same rubber mold they already had, which is understandable. But if we remove the helmet, you can see that LEGO did print a new likeness to Tom Hiddleston, and they did include the same hairpiece that has that been used for Loki before? I don't believe so, but it's predictable that they would use it, and that's okay. And you can see that the head, though, is I think what really makes up for the, you know, slight inaccuracies of the helmet now and the hairstyle not being totally on point, which is fine. Is that the like I said, the likeness to Loki is really great here. I mean, I think they definitely did a much better job capturing Tom Hiddleston's likeness than they did in 2012, for instance, with that Loki, which was a pretty hilarious face that they used. It didn't look anything like him. But if we go ahead and flip it around, you can see the alternative facial expression. Loki in distress. Something's happening. Maybe he's being kidnapped by the Sicarians. I don't know. We see him imprisoned at some point, right? But if we move the head temporarily, though, to give you a better look at what's going on with the rest of the minifigure, we've got this like yellowish goldish cape. Not really anything to say here, but you can see the rest of the minifigure, all of the torso design work going on here, along with the rest of what's, you know, pretty much just not there on the legs. There's nothing else, unfortunately, besides what's on the torso and on the back of the torso, which is fine because Loki's costume in the film, you know, on his arms and legs is pretty straightforward and doesn't really feature a lot of detail, so that's fair enough. But yeah, for the most part, this new Loki is pretty great. I think it would have been nice to have his daggers at least, because we do know that he will be using some daggers throughout the movie, and LEGO did not include those here. Don't know why, but that's fine too, I guess. Next up, our Elder of the Universe, the Grand Master, and all of his Jeff Goldblum glory, except he doesn't actually look like Jeff Goldblum, and I think that's a little bit unfortunate because he definitely had some potential here. I don't know if Jeff Goldblum was cast or not, but LEGO really didn't seem to be going for likeness here, but it's still okay. The hairstyle is way off, and the Widow's Peak hairpiece definitely doesn't work for this minifigure, so I honestly think the entire head on the Grand Master is a bit of a fail, and that's just my opinion. Maybe it doesn't bother you. He's really a side character and it doesn't matter, but I'm just pointing it out. The torso is great though. I really like the torso and the rest of the patterns that they have running throughout the torso design, and that does continue onto the back, which is really great. But aside from that, there isn't much to talk about with our first Jeff Goldblum MCU figure, and it might be the first Jeff Goldblum figure period, I think. But regardless, LEGO didn't exactly nail the likeness here, and it kinda sucks. And finally, for this set, the Sicarian Guard is pretty straightforward. His staff is a standard black rod, so we'll just get it out of the way. So you can see the rest of the minifigure, and I really can't comment on the design. I don't know anything about these guys, but LEGO definitely made a pretty detailed figure here, and the purple definitely pops. I mean, aside from that, though, all that design work does continue onto the back, and it looks great, but fairly straightforward because, again, I don't really know much about about the Sicarian guards. I mean, I think Sakaar, you know, I think any kind of Sicarian character like antagonist, and I think of the guys in Guardians 1, but they didn't look like this, so I don't really know much about these Sicarians in particular, but LEGO definitely made a pretty kick-ass looking minifigure here, and I can see a lot of combos being had here with you know, with purists and anybody that might want to use this minifigure for other things. So aside from that though, again, like I said, that is it for the minifigures in this set. All pretty great for the most part. I just kind of wish we had Loki's daggers and maybe a better face for the Grandmaster. Okay, so next up, the minifigures from the Ultimate Battle for Asgard, and as I mentioned earlier on in this video, this Thor variant is pretty much exactly the same, but like I said earlier, minus the details of like that red design on the front of the torso and that knee pad on his right leg. So aside from that, this is the exact same Thor variant, but he does have a pair of Power Blast pieces in trans blue because he's the god of thunder, and so he's going to be firing some lightning at Hela, and or in this case the background that I've got taped to that Lego set box right there. And if they'll actually fire, and again, if you don't know how Power Blast pieces work, you just push toward the minifigure's arm and they fire, and it's great. Surprisingly enough, these didn't fly off my studio, so I'll be able to clip those back into the minifigure's hands after this segment, but that's not important. What is important is the other unique piece that this minifigure features, this variant in particular, and that is Thor's cape, which by the way is awesome. I don't know if this is a new cape by any stretch, but I think that this is really, really great, and I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. I love the shape, I love how it's thinner, and I think it definitely works really well, and is honestly a lot cooler than even the katana holster from the Sicarian variant. So yeah, aside from that though, that is it for this Thor variant in particular. You can see again, there's the alternative facial expression as well, featuring those thunderous eyes. So aside from that, that's pretty much it for both Thor variants in these sets. Our second figure being Valkyrie, another really great minifigure for the most part. LEGO absolutely nailing the likeness to Tessa Thompson, and the surrounding details are great as well. The hairpiece we've seen before in Hobbit sets and more recently on Taserface. It's not exactly Tessa Thompson's hairstyle in the movie, but it's close enough and understandable why LEGO decided to use it. The sword we've also seen God knows how many times at this point, more recently with Wonder Woman, but just to get them out of the way, we're going to go ahead and remove the sword along with the head and hair to give you a better look at the cape that is included, because this is a different take on the same cape that you just saw with Thor. However, this time it is in blue, featuring a couple more sharp angles, and it definitely looks pretty cool in this like serrated fashion. So yeah, I'm not even sure if I had it in frame there, but there it is. Anyway, the torso print is also really great. There really isn't a lot for me to comment on, but it definitely gets the job done, and it is pretty accurate for the most part, to my understanding. And then if we take a look at the back, all that same detail does continue, and it looks pretty great for the most part. But other than that, that is pretty much it for Valkyrie, and I cannot wait to see what her character brings to the table, especially because, as revealed in recent trailers, she's a bit more than just the Grandmaster's right hand, so that'll be pretty cool. But other than that, another solid minifigure from these sets. And we get our first Bruce Banner minifigure in this set, which is so exciting. It's like getting Coulson all over again, kind of, not really, but LEGO definitely did a pretty great job with this one as well. I don't really know what they were looking at in terms of concept art, because the torso is a little off and his hairstyle in the movie is a lot shorter than an Anakin hairstyle, which is okay because this is more so kind of what you would have gotten in like LEGO Marvel Superheroes. That's kind of the vibe this figure gives me, as opposed to his outfit in Thor Ragnarok. But again, LEGO bases these sets off of concept art. Who knows what they were looking at? Who cares? It's still a pretty solid minifigure. And so back to the torso, pretty standard jacket, standard shirt underneath, and then the black Anakin hairpiece, as I already mentioned, can be swapped out with any number of shorter hairstyles that LEGO has available. So there is that. And I definitely like this facial expression a lot more than the main face, which I'll show you in just a second, because I think this definitely gets a little bit closer to Mark Ruffalo and, you know, him hulking out, as opposed to this side, which is okay. It's just not necessarily Mark Ruffalo entirely. I think maybe a couple like cheekbone marks, or I don't know, just a couple, you know, there's something that can be added to this face. I can't think of what it is right now off the top of my head, but it definitely, you know, gets the job done, and it is a pretty solid Bruce Banner figure nonetheless, aside from those, you know, minor nitpicks I pointed out. And here we go with Hela, and I think The fourth minifigure here in this set just might be the best LEGO MCU minifigure that we're getting in 2017 if this is the last of the sets for the MCU in this year. I mean, I could think of some contenders like the Thor variant that we just talked about a couple of minutes ago, or maybe Spider-Man in the Homecoming sets, but I really do think that either Hela or maybe even the Hulk Big Fig, I mean, this is just one of, if not the best MCU minifigure I think we've had this year, and that may just be my opinion, but this headpiece is just so damn cool, and I'm so surprised that LEGO actually went through and made it. Not only did they make this headpiece, but they also gave her a hairpiece, because I really just thought they were going to go with her hairstyle and just skip the helmet, but they totally went all in and made this helmet out of rubber, and it is so, so great. This entire headpiece and all of the pieces that extend from it, I mean, and the printing on the front of it, it is just so, so cool and makes this minifigure so, so great. But we're going to go ahead and remove it really quick. It's a little bit of a tight fit. That's one thing I should mention. It does come off, but for people like me who paint faces, that might be a concern down the line. Hopefully not. But the face underneath also looks really cool, and instead of just looking like Batman and having a headband or something, you actually do have a pretty cool looking face underneath, and I love the surrounding detail there. But then if we flip it around, we do have the face, which doesn't really come all that close to Kate Blanchett at all, so I think that might be this minifigure's downside, but it's still okay, and it works nonetheless. Just to get them out of the way, because they're kind of big, you can see she's got this giant battle axe here, so we're going to remove that really quick along with her sword. I don't really think these are necessarily accurate to the weapons that she has in the movie, to my understanding, but when does LEGO actually care about making weapons accurate for the most part anyway? But yeah, so back to that hairpiece I was mentioning before. You can see this hairpiece is, I mean, it's not necessarily, you know, as close as I think they could have gotten with other hairpieces to Hela's hairstyle in the movie, but it definitely works and does the job. It kind of looks, she looks a bit more like Poison Ivy with black hair, I'm not going to lie, but again, it works. It's just this headpiece, I think, makes this minifigure way better than any of these little nitpicky things I could point out. So, yeah, but the torso design, like I might have mentioned, is also really great. All that detail going on there is super, super awesome, and I love the shading and the blend from dark green and then the more vibrant and standout dark green sections. And we're going to remove the hairpiece really quick though, just to give you a look at what's going on the underside of the cape, on the back of the torso, and you can see all that detail does extend onto the back as well. So aside from that, that is pretty much it for Hela, besides her playability feature, which I'll go ahead and give you a look at really quick. And she does have some black power blast pieces, which is pretty cool. I don't actually know what she fires or like what kind of matter she creates with her abilities, but we kind of saw, like we'll see in a bit, like the Berserkers kind of have pieces similar, but I don't really know what these are supposed to be. But we do have some black power blast pieces, and again, just push towards the minifigure's arm and they fire. And hey, that one also didn't go off the studio. I'm getting lucky today. So aside from that, that is pretty much it for LEGO's minifigure of Hela. The face isn't exactly spot on, but this side of the head along with this headpiece just make up for all of that, because this is one hell of a minifigure. Our final minifigure of the review, Hela's Berserkers. We get two of these guys in this set, which is pretty cool because they look cool, man. The face really reminds me of like the aliens from like Alien Covenant, or you know, that franchise. I don't know, I'm not familiar with those movies, but that's what it reminds me of. The torso printing is really great, super detailed, not a whole lot for me to comment on. It's all in dark green to look like Hela. I don't really think we've seen these guys in the trailers thus far, because all we've seen are like undead as guardians, but I'm guessing we'll see these guys at some point. And they have like these giant dagger things that LEGO has in the form of these pieces. I forget the exact name of them. I'm not going to take the trip on Bricklink to find out, but we've seen these pieces before, and they do you know, plenty of justice for these minifigures here as like their handheld weapons of God knows what. And then you can see on the back they've got a tooth. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be. I guess it's just kind of like a spike protruding from their back that LEGO, you know, did in the form of, you know, in the form of a neck brace and like a standard clip with the tooth piece just stuck on it, which is fair enough. But we're going to remove it really quick to give you a look at the rest of the minifigure's design work going on the back of the head and the back of the torso right here, and it looks pretty great for the most part. You've got a lot going on here, and all that design work does continue, almost looking slightly more detailed than on the front in some areas. But this is a really great minifigure, and I don't really have a lot to say about it because, again, we have yet to see them. And on that note, we're going to end this hopefully not too extensive review. I don't know, I haven't edited it yet, but yeah.
Where is Jane?
Jane Foster? Oh, she and I haven't spoken in quite some time, actually. Before I left Earth to search for the one behind all of the sudden appearances of the Infinity Stones, we sort of...
So she not signed new contract.
Okay, and there you go. That is it for my review on the Thor Ragnarok minifigures. Hopefully you enjoyed, and thank you so much for sticking around for the whole thing. I really appreciate it. And let me know if you found this informative. Maybe you're still planning on picking up the Thor Ragnarok sets after all this time. But if you did any of those things, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on anything I said down in the comments, anything you might agree with or disagree with. It's all appreciated, guys, and it always means a lot and always goes a long way, as I say, because it is not easy putting out these videos as consistently as I would like to. But things I'm working on, such as the Defenders and upcoming my own minifigures for Thor Ragnarok and my own minifigures for Justice League that I'm hoping to have done in November. All of that will be seen over on the social medias, the Twitter, the Bookface, and the Instagram. Links to all three of those are always down in the description below, so you'll see all of it over there first before you ever see the showcases go up here. And I made some pretty substantial progress on Daredevil now that I've finished the Defenders, and I've actually watched it 2 times over while working on that figure, and I'm working on the rest of the team. And then, like I said, Thor Ragnarok, Justice League, and The Last Jedi. That will follow 3 major projects, and you'll all see it over there. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. I'm gonna get ready for Force Friday. Got some other things to attend to before then that I gotta get started on, and aside from that, that's it, guys. I'll catch you then. All right, bye-bye. We've got Thor in his new outfit, specifically So now moving on to the minifigures from the Ultimate Battle of Asgard. Is it of Asgard or is it for Asgard? I don't know. I just bought the sets and assembled the minifigures. Didn't actually read the box for Asgard. Okay. You see LEGO used a black and damn it! Shit! This is during Thor Ragnarok is really great for this freaking hair. Oh my god. Anyway, the torso.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.